Hey guys, I'm Sean Hammond with PremierGuitar.com. We're in Nashville at SNAMM 2018 talking to Andy Powers from Taylor Guitars. Andy, how are you?
Hey there, I'm well, thank you.
Good. We got the mood lighting going, we got the wood
packing crates, you know.
So the big news for you guys at this show is that the V-Class bracing is across the board from 300 series up, is that right?
That's true. We've got options down from all the way into the 300 series range now. So all the El Cajon USA built guitars we're building with this V-Class internal architecture.
Now, remind people what that is in a nutshell. You announced it at Winter NAMM, I think, right? And we've already reviewed the first model. I can't remember, it's K something or other, right?
Yeah, you saw one of the K14 Builder's Edition guitars. Now, the V-Class architecture, it's a different way to build a guitar. It's a new internal structure that allows for a lot more dynamic range, a lot more expressive range out of a guitar. You end up with a louder guitar with longer sustain that plays in better tune than a lot of the designs that we've had in the past.
And it's mainly due to the bracing?
Yeah, it's entirely due to the bracing, actually. Even that intonation benefit, it has to do with the way the guitar is vibrating. It takes out some of the inharmonic sounds that a guitar would normally want to make that cause some interference. So this is a lot freer, clearer design.
And right now it's available just in this body style, right?
Yeah, it's just the Grand Auditorium bodies. Eventually, there will be other designs because this design, it's variable. It gives us a lot of control of how we want to shape the guitar, the sounds that we can get out of it, the ways that you could flavor a guitar in different directions, even the different tone woods. So like in this case, I've got what we call a Builder's Edition 614 model. Okay.
And this is above even the one that came out at Winter NAMM, is that right?
Yeah, it's kind of the next installment of that same idea. So you see the same, this compound contoured cutaway where there's no corner of the guitar, everything's been beveled away in the front for high range accessibility, has these almost violin-like chamfered edges and armrest, silent satin finish. What's so fascinating to me is this guitar is like a total chameleon. It takes on a lot of different characteristics depending on how you play it. Kind of like a violin in a way. Yeah. You might play a classical sonata on it one minute and you might be playing a fiddle tune on it the next. But this is a guitar that you could play strumming chords and it sounds great. You play it as a fingerstyle guitar. You could play it as almost like a jazz guitar or an electric guitar kind of sound. And it suits a lot of styles really well.
And it's also got this beautiful armrest that you guys started doing. And speaking of violins, the figuring on the wood there is extremely...
This one's all maple with a spruce top. And it's just a really player-reflective type of sound. It makes a lot of interesting music.
And spruce top, right?
Yeah, it's a roasted Sitka spruce top.
Any other... features of it that you want to mention, or do you want to play a little bit more for us? And we came in with something kind of pensive. Do you want to show us some of the other end of the spectrum from that?
Sure. It has all these different interesting sounds it can make. If I even play it like an electric guitar. It's got this kind of willing attitude towards it, It's real interesting to see.
Now this is...
As I mentioned, this architecture allows for a lot of range to build different sounds into a guitar. So this is a 514 model. This one has a western red cedar top with mahogany on the back and sides. There's a few small tweaks inside on the internal architecture to emphasize the different characteristics of these tone woods. But if I compare these two guitars, they're very, very different in the types of sounds they make.
It's a bit brighter, huh?
Yeah, it's really interesting because it has this there's a warmth to it that's very clear, so it makes for a really great like songwriter guitar. If I was going to sing a tune, this is probably the guitar I'd choose to support that vocal part. You know, so there's a lot of new flavors that are coming out.
Cool. So how much does this one go for?
I wish I knew. I think
You're still working on the pricing?
No, I think it's about $2,500, give or take, by the time you walk into a shop, somewhere around there.
And then the first one?
That guitar, off the top of my head, it's in the $3,000 range, but I think it's on the higher side of that.
Okay. And then we have these two here. Do you want to briefly tell us about those? I mean, very similar, but...
Yeah, again, different flavors brought on by these wood personalities, and all those sounds. You know, we're familiar with a rosewood guitar sounding different than a mahogany guitar, but using this architecture inside, those differences became more dramatic. So we have a 324 model right there. That one has a mahogany top with Tasmanian blackwood on the back and sides, and then next to it is a 414 model with a Sitka spruce top and Ovengal back and sides. You know, they have totally different sonorities, different timbres. They all have these kind of musically useful attributes: good volume, good sustain, this wonderful intonation and balance. But the fingerprint of each guitar is very, very different.
Are there plans to expand the new V-Class bracing to the more affordable, like completely across the range eventually, or?
Now that remains to be seen, because right now this design is fairly difficult to build.
Labor intensive.
Pretty labor intensive, and we're still building out our production capability to build lots of these guitars. In fact, that's why we chose to wait a little while and release them as we finish tools for making these different guitars, because we didn't have the resources or the capacity to build everything that we would need to build to completely redo every guitar all at the same time. So we take a kind of a staggered approach of, we're working on this now, and when that's done, we'll work on the next guitar. And so honestly, I'll say that the next 5 years is going to be a really exciting time. There's going to be a whole lot of new guitars, a whole lot of new sounds, a lot of things to offer musicians.
Cool. Well, do you want to tell us anything else about the guitars you brought to this show, or do you want to just tell people where to go online to find out about all the stuff you guys do?
Yeah, if you want to find out more information, visit taylorguitars.com. And these guitars, you'll find them at a lot of shops already. We've been building them and shipping them out. So give them a try. Try those voices on. See what fits with your music.
Cool. Thanks, Andy. Always a pleasure. Thanks for joining us, guys. I'm Sean Hammond for PremierGuitar.com.